you're watching this, then chances are you have something in your life, either a specific thought pattern that keeps on coming up for you, or events and circumstances playing out a certain way in your life every time, or maybe you even have a specific person that frustrates you and brings out the worst of you, right? I am 100% sure you have a few things that you give way too much power to, right? And when you do that, what you actually do is you determine that those things are true, that those things are going to continue playing out that way in your life, and that they are going to continue basically terrorizing you, right? And you actually go very deep into those things, and you decide that not only are those things really making you very frustrated, annoyed, or whatever in the moment, those things are also going to determine how your entire life is going to go. So it's a real slippery slope. Okay, so I really wanted to talk about what it means to really have control and what it doesn't mean to really have control. Starting with what it doesn't mean, because it's really going to help illuminate this concept to you, which is very, very, very critical, right? Because it's important for all of us to feel like we have more control in our lives, because the reality is that we do. We don't have control over everything, but there's a lot that we have control over. And by being able to, of course, make that distinction first and foremost, we'll be able to really find our freedom, really. So this video is about basically finding your freedom, right? Finding that mental freedom that you're seeking in your mind, and then ultimately in your reality. So what having control isn't about, right? It's not about you not reacting to the circumstances or not reacting to the thoughts, right? That is not what it is, okay? And I'm talking about this because in the manifestation community, there is a very harmful idea that goes around, which is that whenever a negative thought comes up, or whenever the opposite circumstance shows up in our reality than what we actually want to experience, we should push it down and deny that it's even happening, right? For example, say you really want a relationship, okay? And maybe you visualize what you want the relationship to be like. Maybe you visualize a specific person that you want to have a relationship with, what they're going to be like, and all these kinds of things. So you might conjure all these things up in your imagination, right? And you might start choosing your thoughts more consciously. And some of those might be, I am meant for an amazing relationship, right? I am loved, I attract people in my life, whatever. So if you've done this, right, that means that you're going to start noticing the opposites. You might start feeling like people of the opposite sex or the same sex don't really get attracted to you, right? Or you might feel like relationships aren't really meant for you whenever you see other people in the street that have a relationship, right? So all these kinds of things, okay? So whenever specific feelings come up for you, right, in relation to this, what you would do based on this very wrong and harmful idea that you should push those feelings down, what you would do is you would pretend that you're not experiencing them, okay? You would tell yourself, nope, I am gonna have a relationship. This is not true, okay? This thought that has come up for me, which is telling me that I'm not gonna have a relationship, is untrue. These feelings of sadness that I have coming up, I am going to pretend they're not there, okay? This couple that I'm seeing who's having a great relationship, I am going to pretend that it doesn't bother me that they have that relationship, and I don't, okay? That's what you would do. And when you do this, you instantly tell your brain, right? And you instantly tell the universe that you don't actually have that thing, that you are not gonna have the great relationship that you want. That's what you're telling yourself when you deny that that thing is happening in that moment, okay? So what it actually means to have power over your life, right? What it actually means is that you get to have those feelings come up, right? Or you get to see a specific thing happening a specific way in your life. And your first thought is, okay, I accept it, right? I accept these feelings. I accept this frustration, okay? I accept that this person is really irritating me. I accept that I have this inner voice in my head that's telling me you're not good enough and you're not going to get the relationship. You're not going to get the job. You're not going to change your life, right? It's accepting all of that and letting it come up, okay? And saying, you don't have power here, okay? By actually telling your thoughts and events and people, either implicitly, most likely, or even explicitly, that they don't have power over you. You tell them that by saying, okay, whatever, right? Just think about a bully for a second, okay? If a bully comes up and tells you, I'm going to smack you in the face, what does the bully want you to do? How does the bully want you to react? They want you to kind of step back and start looking afraid, right? Oh my God, don't do that, please, right? Don't harm me. That's what they want, okay? But when you respond to them with an okay, whatever, beat me the hell up, I don't care. By doing that, you are surprising the bully, right? You're going to surprise them. They're going to say, wait, what? Really? They're not going to expect that kind of response from you, right? And by doing that, they're instantly going to drop their weapons, metaphorically, or even literally, right? They are going to drop their weapons. And they're going to change their reaction towards you, right? So the same applies to your thoughts and anything else that's happening in your life. By fully accepting it and coming to terms with it and saying, it's okay. I accept the feeling that comes up, okay? I accept that I'm seeing something that I don't quite like, okay? Or I accept that I so far yet don't have what I want, okay? You do that first, and then, first of all, also it's important to note that you don't entertain that further. You say, okay, cool, but you don't create a story around it, or you shut down a past story you've always held around that thing, and then you decide what you want the response to be from now on. And as you do that more and more, you really reinforce that in your mind, and it becomes part of you. It becomes something you naturally do, right? So you will naturally think to yourself, for example, yes, I am meant to have a relationship, right? For example, that's literally something I have practiced with myself, right? I used to look at couples and think to myself, I am not going to have a good relationship, right? I used to think that. And I used to low-key curse them, right? But I would also pretend that I'm not doing that in my mind. No, I'm going to have a relationship. Nope, 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 right? I would pretend that that's true. But when I start accepting those feelings and start thinking, okay, it's fine that I'm thinking and I'm feeling in this way, and of course I would, right? You validate that. Of course I would, because my past relationships had played out that way. But that is not how they're going to play out from now on. So I determine that consciously after I've accepted the feeling, right? And I'm going to use a quote here by Franklin. I always forget his name. He's the guy that wrote Man's Search for Meaning. There's a very beautiful quote in his book that goes, between a stimulus and a response, there is a gap. And in that gap, right, lies your ability to choose and ultimately your freedom, right? Because when we don't give control onto something, we feel free. And that's what we basically seek, right? All of us. When we say that we want to be more in control, what we mean is that we want to be more free, right? We don't want to feel like our money problems control us, for example, right? Financial freedom is like a topic that is really spoken about, right? So we don't want to feel like money has power over us, right? We want to feel like we are the ones that get to control how our money works for us and all that kind of stuff, right? We get to determine that. That's how we want to feel. And that's how we feel free when we've accomplished this level of financial abundance, let's say, where we determine that, okay, I can spend my money however I want, right? That's how we feel free. But at the end of the day, the only real true freedom lies in our minds, because our external circumstances can change at any moment, okay? But anyway, going back to this quote, I brought this quote up because I want to specifically highlight the stimulus part and then the gap of it, okay? So the stimulus is going to come up for you anyway, okay? It's going to come up, and you can't pretend that it's not, okay? You can't pretend that something isn't bothering you, that something is not happening. You need to accept that the stimulus is there, and then in that gap, you are going to choose how you want to be viewing yourself, to be viewing your life and all that stuff moving forward. Okay? You decide that in that gap, but you still accept the stimulus, whatever it is, while you rise up, it's there, it's happening. And if you don't do that, it's going to keep on coming back and it's going to start haunting you forever, potentially, right? Until you get to a place where you can accept it. And another way that you can think about this, which really helps me, is to think about whenever you have a conversation with somebody that is in a very bad emotional place, okay? What you do with that person ideally, right? I hope you know this, even if you don't practice it that well. No one is perfect, obviously. Whenever somebody comes up to you and they have very negative feelings about something, and they're like, this horrible thing happened, right? They tell you something horrible. You're not going to tell them what they can do to start fixing it, right? You're not going to say, oh, okay, so you feel like you are not going to get the job that you want. Well, start using, so writing better CVs, right? Start doing this or doing that. You're not going to tell them this. If you want to be a good friend, the first thing you're going to do, of course, it depends, what kind of person you're speaking to, but for the majority of people, right? Because most of us are emotional to some extent, right? There are only a few people that are very, very logic focused and they don't care about there being an emotional response. And it also depends your dynamic as well, I suppose, right? Because, for example, a guy with a guy, they might be different. I don't know. But there are a lot of different nuances to this, but it doesn't matter. If you want to be a good friend, the first thing that you might want to do is calm down that person and validate their experience, okay? I see why you would feel this way, right? I see why you would feel like you're not going to get this job. You applied to so many of them, so I understand how you're feeling right now. I understand the frustration. That's what you're going to do, okay? And that is going to let the person process their feelings and accept them. And only then you're going to start being practical about it and saying, well, let's look at this other alternative, okay? You do this other thing. You change this thing. You change your CV, whatever, right? You do this thing and you're going to, or you change this mindset, right? That you have right now that you're not going to get jobs, right? That's kind of like what you're doing to yourself with manifestation. And then the person, because they process their feelings, they're able to actually accept what you're telling them, okay? Whereas if you don't accept their feelings, they are probably not going to listen to the practical advice that you have to give them, okay? So that's a perfect example as well to illustrate this, okay? So to sum up, okay, you having control, it's all about not giving your power away to things, feelings that you have, or circumstances or people. And you don't do that by pretending they're not happening or shutting your feelings down, because they're always going to be there, okay, if you continue doing this, okay? And they're always going to keep on coming stronger and stronger and stronger. Whereas when you accept them and you don't resist them in any way, right, then they're going to dissipate. Okay, think of the bully. Think of you having an argument with someone, and when you don't actually resist what they're saying to you, and you're kind of like, okay, whatever, you just listen to them, then you're going to start getting more angry or frustrated if they already are, right, amidst the argument. They're not going to be doing that, right? Especially with certain people that you really can never win with, because they will always be trying to terrorize you, right? Think about all those things and how you wouldn't be giving your power away by not entertaining them, okay? It's fine for you to react. It's you determining your later steps, right? And what you're going to be thinking from now on, and what you want your experience to be. That's where your power really lies, okay? You can react. It's okay for you to react. And I assure you, you're still gonna get your manifestations anyway, because a lot of people also feel worried that if they accept the feelings that are opposite to what they want to be feeling, because they don't align with the kind of experiences they want to receive and take in their life, it's okay. It's still going to happen for you, okay? So accept it. Don't give your power to it, because when you do, that's when you say those things are going to continue playing out that same way. They're true, and that's why I'm trying to deny them. Okay, that's what you're saying. Okay, but when you don't deny them and you accept them fully for what they are and how they feel, that's when you're generally going to be free. Okay, so let the feelings come up, but choose your responses accordingly. Okay, don't ignore the stimulus. It's there, it's happening. Put it behind you. All right, I hope this video helped. If you did, give it a thumbs up or follow this channel for more content like this. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.